What is up guys, it's Cal, and in this video we'll be getting SHADOWMOURNE in the quickest way possible. Now I want to briefly mention that I made this video once before years ago, but that video is so bad and my mic was awful since it was like 3 years ago. So here I go, recycling content. But anyways, let's go. First, I want to start off by saying that this isn't something you can just get in 1 week or something like that. It does take multiple weeks, but there are certain things you can do at certain points, so this doesn't take up to like 6 months of your time. So anyways, why do you want to do this, and well, who can do this? So you want to get SHADOWMOURNE not only for the cool looking weapon that can be viably used in Burning Crusade and Lich King time walking, but you get a mount, you get 2 toys, a tabard, and a Northrend dollar on portal. Not a port, but a portal you can create for others to use. And these things are also bound on use, so you can sell them on the auction house for lots of gold. Now the classes you can get SHADOWMOURNE are Death Knights, Paladins, and Warriors. So sorry survival hunters, even though you're melee now and everything is a hunter weapon, you're out of luck. Okay, step 1. You gotta get friendly with the Ashen Verdict. This is the first thing you have to do before getting the quest. Now to get friendly with the Ashen Verdict, you want to put the raid on 25-man heroic. You should honestly do this whole thing on 25-man heroic. Kill the trash in Ice Crown Citadel up until the first boss. Do not kill Marogar, the first boss. Once all the trash is killed, up until Marogar, walk out of the raid, reset your instance by right-clicking your portrait, and then walk back in and clear the trash up until Marogar again, remembering to not kill the first boss. Now go ahead and use any rep increases you want, like battle standards. You can place this thing in the middle of the main room before killing the trash in there, that's helpful, or the Dark Moonfare buff if it's that weak, or if you're a human. So this should take 4 to 5 clears of the beginning trash before you're friendly with the Ashen Verdict. That's of course obviously dependent on if you're a human or what rep increases you use. It could take maybe 3 clears, but anyways, then you can pick up your quest. So talk to Darian Mograine and you'll need to retrieve some items. You'll need 25 primordial serenite, so you can get this one of 3 ways. You can buy this from an NPC in the area for 135 gold each serenite when you're friendly, but you probably don't want to do that. Alternatively, you can buy them off the auction house for usually cheaper. This is what I ended up doing. You can also do ICC on another character since the bosses have a chance to drop serenite, but it's actually a pretty low chance, like maybe a few serenites per run. Also take this time to reset the instance. This is very important since you need the beginning trash there for another step. During the step, you also need to go to a cave in Northern Dragonblight to get Arthas's old hammer by doing this small scenario thing. I don't think I need to show it to you, it just involves clicking a hammer and watching the Lich King talk and whatever. And then you have to get the blood from Festergut and Rotface. So therefore you do need to kill Margar, Lady Deathwhisper, Gunship, Sarfang, and then Rotface and Festergut to do this part. So when you head there, dodge all the trash you possibly can, and you can actually dodge almost all of it if you're good enough. Going to Margar, you'll have to bob and weave a bit. You might pull 1 or 2 of the groups at the end of the rooms before him. Lady Deathwhisper, you can go right between the 2 groups and fight her. Heading to Gunship, you can actually pass all the trash. Then there's no trash to Sarfang, and then try to skip the trash when approaching Festergut and Rotface. If you pull quite a bit, well, it's not really a huge deal. There just needs to be at least 50 things for you to kill for the next step. So when you kill those 2 bosses, Rotface and Festergut, you get their blood. Do not kill Professor Putricide. You definitely do not want to do that. Now take the teleporter back to Lighthammer and turn it back into Darien to get Shadow's Edge. Part 3, A Feast of Souls. You need to gather 50 souls with Shadow's Edge. I remember when this was current it was actually 1000, but you need to kill 50 enemies while wielding Shadow's Edge. This is why you skipped as much trash as possible. So there's a catch to this part. You cannot one-shot the enemies. So if you're level 120, which is the current level cap for BFA, well, you'll probably want to take off all your gear. Now if you end up watching this at a future expansion where taking off all your gear isn't enough, then resort to also getting res sickness. But taking off all your gear was enough for me. Just make sure that you actually equip Shadow's Edge, that's very important. Then teleport back to Lighthammer for your next part. Part 4. Unholy Infusion. This one can be pretty tricky. It is soloable, but it can easily be messed up. By messing up, I mean the boss can easily reset itself, which isn't really a huge deal. Now the easy way to do this is to get a friend. That's the hardest part though, is having friends. Now if you just so happen to have one of these so-called friends, then they can engage the boss with you and it's no big deal. Now if you want to do this by yourself like me, this is what you have to do. So make sure to put your gear back on, including Shadow's Edge. You do need Shadow's Edge on. You'll pull Professor Putricide. You want to DPS him to about 83%. Do not DPS him to 80 or you'll trigger his next phase too fast. He'll put a slime puddle under you. Once he does that, move back. He then puts another slime puddle under you after some time. Once done, move back again. He'll spawn slimes in the fight. They can largely be ignored unless it's a green one that roots you. You probably want to kill those, but you want to make sure you don't AoE the boss on accident. Anyways, he'll then throw a third slime puddle down. Once he does this, immediately run back to his table. Click on the table to drink and then smack him once to damage him below 80% health. He should then run back to his table to create the concoction as you turn into an abomination. Now as an abomination, all you want to do is spam the number 1 ability. This will eat the slime on the ground. You want to eat the slime until the yellow bar on the right is full. Once it's full, then hit number 4 to infuse your Shadow's Edge. If you don't do a number 4 ability, that means you aren't wielding Shadow's Edge. So once Shadow's Edge is infused, you can die in the abomination, and then make sure you have the 6-minute Shadow's Edge buff called Shadow Infusion. This is required. If you don't have that, then you have to reset. But you should have that if you did everything correctly anyways. So as I said, this one can be pretty finicky. It did take me quite a bit of attempts, but do your best and hopefully you succeed. Next up is Blood Infusion, arguably the hardest part of this chain, mainly because this one requires friends. Yes, you do need people helping you with this one. It is impossible to solo. So right now, you should just have the first 4 bosses plus the plague quarters killed. Now go into the blood quarters and kill the first boss there, and then you'll be at the blood queen. So to do this part, you need to bite friendly players 3 times and then kill her, meaning you'll have to bring at least 2 people to bite. I don't think you could do this with one other person, even if it's like a shaman or a warlock who could resurrect themselves. You'll need at least 2 people. So you need to bite 3 players. But why only 2 people? Well, you can bring 3 if you want, I guess, but if you decide to bring 2, then one of those people has to have a battle res, or they can be someone who can self-resurrect, like a shaman or warlock. If you're doing this as a death knight, then you of course fill the role of that battle res. Also, engineers do have a battle res. Anyways, I like warlocks because they can kill themselves easy with life tap and burning rush. I did this with a hunter and a shaman. So first off, have Shadow's Edge equipped, of course. It's the most important thing. Run up to the Blood Queen and take aggro. You have to tank her so she puts Essence of the Blood Queen on you. This debuff will tick down from 1 minute, at which point you'll have to bite one of your friends. So bite the person who does not have a battle res or the person who can self-res. In other words, bite the person who is able to stand back up during the fight after dying. After they're bit, they will get a 1 minute Essence of the Blood Queen debuff, and yours will reset back to 1 minute. Now, of course, you don't want to be killing the boss. There's just a lot of waiting involved. Now, after a minute, both you and the person you bit will be asked to bite someone. So you want to bite your other friend who has not been bitten yet. And the first person who you bit just shouldn't bite anyone because they can't if you only have 2 people with you. So they'll become mind controlled. Once they become mind controlled, you kill them. You have to kill them. So them taking off all their gear prior to the fight isn't a bad idea if they're difficult to kill. Once they die, they need to be rezzed, whether they have a self-res or your friend or you resurrects them. Now after another minute from your last bite, you and your other friend will be asked to bite someone. So you want to bite your friend who was once dead, now is alive, because once you die, it clears your debuff from being bitten. So you just did your 3rd bite there. Now your friend who needs to bite someone will most likely become mind controlled. But anyways, you're good to kill the boss as long as you've bitten 3 people. Once she's dead, go back to Darien to turn your quest in. Part 6. It's Frost Infusion. This one is much easier than the previous 2 infusion quests and can be soloed. Also, by the way, everything up until this point can be done during the first week, so keep that in mind. So you want to make your way to Sindragosa. You can skip Val, the healing dragon boss, of course. That encounter isn't required anymore to complete the dungeon. Now, once you've made it to Sindragosa, make sure your Shadow's Edge is equipped. It's very important, and engage the fight. You need to be breathed on 4 times from her. So you pretty much just stand there until she breathes on you 4 times. It's called Frost Breath, and you'll know what number you're at by your Frost Infusion debuff. This will count up each time she uses it on you, and if you don't have this debuff after Frost Breath, then you aren't wielding Shadow's Edge. Now when she reaches 35% health, she doesn't do Frost Breath anymore, so make sure you get 4 stacks, which gives you the Frost Infused buff thing. Then kill her when you see that, and then you turn it back into Darien and you're good. Now for the pretty much last step, but not quite, the Splintering Throne. This is the most time consuming part of the chain since you need to get 50 Shadowfrost shards, and those shards drop from the bosses in the raid. So when you get that quest from Darion, go kill the Lich King, since he should be the only boss up. Also, feel free to do the Velithra fight, of course, if you have a way to heal the dragon. Bandages will not work. They might in the future, but currently you can't win that fight by using bandages. I learned that the hard way. So anyways, after you kill the Lich King for a possible chance at a Shadowfrost shard, you have to wait an entire week to do the raid again, and then you just keep farming bosses until you get 50 shards. Now, a couple things to note here. You want to do this on 25 main heroic. The shards have a much better chance of dropping on heroic than on normal, and then you do not have to have Shadow's Edge equipped. They will drop without it equipped, and that's it. Keep killing bosses until you finally get 50 Shadowfrost shards. This step took me an additional 6 weeks to complete. Like I said at the beginning, this isn't something you can do in 1 week. So anyways, when you're on your final week of gathering shards, pray to the RNG gods that your final Shadowfrost shard is not off the Lich King. Since when you turn these shards into Darion, you do get SHADOWMOURNE and your achievement, but you have one final thing to do, and that's to kill the Lich King. So, do just that. Kill him and he will drop a sealed chest, and you'll want to go back to Darion to turn it in. Open up the unsealed chest and you'll get Alexandro's Soul Shard, Blood of Sylvanas, Arthas's Training Sword, Badge of the Silver Hand, and Jaina's Locket. And you'll want to turn all these items into the various NPCs there. They will give you some really interesting dialogue that you should listen to. I won't include it in here, but that's just hearing what they have to say. So first off, you can turn Alexandro's Soul Shard into Darion for the Reigns of the Crimson Death Charger mount. Now this mount and all these items are sellable, so keep that in mind. I think I made about 150k off this mount. Anyways, his father, High Lord Alexandros Mograine, who was actually murdered by his other son, Renault, will spawn and talk to him. After this exchange is over, you can head to the other NPCs and turn the items into them. You can turn Arthas's Training Sword into Muradin from Muradin's favorite toy. This turns you into a Frost Dwarf for 10 minutes. Then Jaina's Locket into Jaina Proudmoore, which will allow you to create a portal to Northrend Dalaran. Blood of Sylvanas into Sylvanas. It's kind of weird that he kept a vial of her blood, but whatever, I don't judge. She'll then give you a toy, Sylvanas' music box. This spawns 2 banshees that float, and a Lament of the Highborn will begin playing. Then Badge of the Silver Hand into Uther the Lightbringer to get the Tabard of the Lightbringer, which has the use effect of making your chest all glowy, and that's it. So those are all the items you can get at the end of the SHADOWMOURNE questline, which are all sellable. So in the end, it took me 7 weeks to get, which is actually 1 week less than the last time I did this. But there you have it, guys. How to get SHADOWMOURNE in the most efficient way possible. If you guys enjoyed this video, then feel free to leave a like on it. You can sub to the channel for more videos like this, and I will see you guys in the next video.